Ever feel like those video game characters, the ones that kind of get stuck? Like they're on repeat, saying the same old lines no matter what epic quests we've tackled together. Or maybe you're scrolling through social media and it's just, ugh, same old memes, same old ads, totally missing the mark. What if, and just hear me out here, what if we could make those digital experiences feel, more human?
That's exactly what researchers are trying to figure out, trying to crack the code with these, what they're calling generative agents. Imagine AI that doesn't just like spit back a response to your command, but actually remembers, like really remembers your past interactions, forms its own opinions, heck, maybe even surprises you with a birthday party invite because it remembered a conversation from weeks ago. That's the kind of potential we're talking about.
Okay, hold on a sec. A birthday party. Did you say surprises?
Yeah.
We're not talking about some superpowered chatbot here, are we? Explain, please.
We're talking like a whole new level. Think about it. What makes our interactions, with other people so engaging, so real? It's not just the words themselves, right? It's the shared history, those inside jokes, knowing that we each have a unique perspective shaped by our own experiences.
All right, like that one friend who always remembers, you want a caramel macchiato, extra shot. You only told them once, but they remembered. That's what makes them, well, them.
Yeah.
But how in the world are researchers recreating that in AI?
So they've built this incredibly detailed, like, virtual town. They call it Smallville. And it's got it all cafes, parks, even a, like, bustling college dorm. It's all designed to be a stage for these generative agents to live out their digital lives.
Okay, so picture The Sims, but with characters that are way, way more complex.
Exactly. And here's the key. They interact using, natural language, just like you and me. They're grabbing coffee, debating the latest news, even gossiping about each other. All of this is logged, analyzed by the system to create what they call a memory stream for each agent.
A memory stream. So like a digital diary, recording all their experiences.
It's more like a highlight reel. It captures the really important stuff, who they talked to, what they talked about, even how those interactions made them feel. And here's the kicker. It's not just stored away, like in some dusty corner of their digital brain. The system actually analyzes these memories, like really thinks about them to help the agent form, higher level thoughts and opinions.
Hold on, you're saying these AI are forming their own opinions, like they just wake up one day and decide they're Team Edward.
It's not so much about picking sides, but more like recognizing patterns in their experiences and drawing conclusions from them. For example, imagine an agent, let's call her Isabella. Isabella keeps running into another agent, Maria, at their favorite cafe. Over time, the system might generate a reflection, something like Isabella enjoys spending time with Maria, or Maria makes Isabella laugh.
Okay, so it's not pre-programmed. It's actually emerging from their interactions. That's kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie.
It's definitely, pushing the boundaries of what we thought AI could do, but it's also where things get really, really interesting. These reflections, that's what the researchers call them, they aren't just like passive observations, they actually influence how the agents behave in the future.
Okay, let's break this down. How does this whole reflection thing actually work in, you said it's called Smallville,
So,
right?
right, Smallville. So let's say Isabella decides to throw a party. Based on those positive reflections about Maria, the system might prompt Isabella to invite her. Or if an agent overhears a conversation about, say, a local election, it might spark a debate. And the things they say, well, those are shaped by their past experiences, the opinions they've formed.
Wait, are you telling me these AI are throwing parties and debating politics
Yeah.
all on their own?
All because of this complex interplay of memory, reflection, and natural language processing. It's a far cry from that predictable, scripted behavior we're used to seeing in like virtual characters. But there's one more piece of the puzzle. It takes us to a whole other level of realism. And that, my friend, is the power of planning.
Okay, so these generative agents, they're living it up in Smallville, forming opinions, but they're not just like wandering around reacting to stuff, right? You mentioned planning earlier.
Right. Just like us, these agents, they actually create daily to-do lists, structure their time. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, their planning, it isn't rigid or, pre-programmed. It's dynamic, constantly evolving based on their goals, their relationships, even unexpected things that pop up.
So no set script. They have agency. They can change their minds.
Think about it like this. Let's say we've got an agent, we'll call him Sam, and Sam's got go for a run in the park on his to-do list for like the afternoon. But then he runs into, well, not literally, but he encounters another agent who mentions this fascinating lecture. It's happening at the university that evening.
And because Sam's this huge history buff, his AI brain is like, ooh, gotta go to that.
Exactly. And the system allows him to, reprioritize. He might decide, okay, run tomorrow, lecture tonight.
That's wild. So they're weighing their options, making choices based on, like, their own internal compass. It's like
Yeah.
they're actually, living, not just going through the motions.
And that's what makes this research so groundbreaking, right? These agents aren't just reacting. They're making decisions, planning, navigating their social world, and they're doing it with a level of autonomy we haven't really seen before in AI.
Okay, I have to admit, this is a lot to take in. Do we have, like, any real examples of how this plays out in Smallville?
Absolutely. Remember Isabella, the one planning the Valentine's Day party?
Oh, yeah, totally. The one who's maybe got a little thing from Maria. What happened? Did the party actually, like, happen?
It did. And it wasn't just some, 2-minute animation of avatars standing around. This whole event, it unfolded organically over the course of, get this, the 2-day simulation.
Wait, are you serious? Walk me through this.
Okay, so Isabella, she starts by casually inviting agents she bumps into around town, like you would in real life. But here's the thing. The other agents, they don't just show up. They've got to, work it into their own schedules, think about their existing relationships. They even have to decide how to respond.
So they could actually decline the invitation.
Exactly. Some politely decline, already got plans, that kind of thing, while others express interest but, remain noncommittal. One agent, Klaus, who also happens to be, let's just say, the object of Maria's affections, he hesitates before finally accepting, probably swayed by his, past positive interactions with Maria.
This is like straight out of a sitcom. Did they all end up at the cafe on Valentine's Day?
5 agents, including Maria and Klaus, showed up at Hobbs Cafe ready to celebrate. The simulation logs even show them mingling, chatting, basically enjoying themselves.
That is wild. And all of this because Isabella decided to throw a party?
Well, it's a bit more than that. It's her initial goal, the agent's ability to remember, to act on past conversations. And then the system itself, it's able to generate these realistic interactions. All of that leads to this emergent behavior.
Hmm.
And it's not just parties either. Remember Sam, our potential mayoral candidate.
Oh, yeah. What happened with his campaign? Did he, like, make posters, kiss babies, the whole 9 yards?
He didn't have to. Remember, these agents are constantly interacting, sharing information. So as Sam's going about his day, news of his candidacy, it just spreads organically through conversation.
No billboards, no social media campaigns, just word of mouth.
Exactly. And just like with the Valentine's Day party, the other agents, they didn't just passively take in this information. They formed opinions about Sam. They discussed their opinions, even let those opinions influence how they interacted with each other.
Wow. So Sam's candidacy, it became like a real thing in Smallville, sparking debates, shaping how everyone was interacting with each other. That's incredible. But what does this all mean in the bigger picture? Why should we, like in the real world, care about AI throwing parties, running for office in a virtual town? Okay, so we've seen these generative agents throwing parties, running for office, basically living out their lives in this like digital playground. But I got to ask, what's the big takeaway? Why should any of this matter to those of us living in, the real world?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
But think about those moments of frustration you mentioned earlier. The video game characters stuck on repeat with their canned responses, or the social media algorithms that just never quite, get you. Generative agents, they have the potential to completely change those experiences.
So no more like talking to a brick wall in my favorite RPG.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually be building relationships with characters who remember, like, our shared history.
Imagine booting up your console, and this character, they greet you, but they remember your playstyle from, a month ago. Maybe they offer you a quest that plays to your strengths, or reminisce about a victory you shared together.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about social media, though? Can these agents fix the whole, doom scrolling phenomenon?
Imagine scrolling through your feed, but instead of being bombarded with, irrelevant stuff,
Yeah.
you're seeing content curated by an AI that actually gets you. And I mean, really gets you, not just based on what you clicked yesterday, but on reflections built from months of observing what you do online.
So it's like having a personal assistant, but for your, digital life. One that knows what you need before you do, helps you cut through all the noise.
That's the idea. And it goes way beyond just entertainment or social media, too. Imagine rehearsing for a big presentation, but you're doing it with an AI that remembers you get nervous, and it helps you practice answering those tough questions. Or what about a language learning app that actually adapts to your learning style based on your progress?
This could be huge for education. It'd be like having a personal tutor who knows how your brain works, and they tailor their methods to how you learn best.
The possibilities are, well, pretty much endless. But, and there's always a but, right? With any new tech, we've got to consider the implications. How do we make sure these agents are used responsibly? How do we prevent bias from creeping into their decision making? These are things researchers are working on, important conversations to have as this technology keeps evolving.
Right, like with great power comes great responsibility, even when we're talking about AI.
Exactly. But even with those challenges, the potential here is undeniable. Generative agents, they represent a huge shift in how we think about AI, how we interact with it. It's not about rigid programming anymore. It's about creating these systems that learn, that adapt, that can even surprise us with what they can do.
This whole deep dive has been one big aha moment, honestly. Who knew AI could be this, I don't know, interesting, dare I say, relatable?
And that's the exciting part. As those lines between digital and real, keep blurring, these generative agents, they give us a glimpse into the future. A future where our interactions with technology are more engaging, more personal, maybe even, dare I say, more human.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of generative agents. We covered a ton today, from how their AI brains work to how this could change everything from entertainment to education. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that the future of AI, well, it's not about these cold, calculating machines. It's about creating systems that learn, adapt, and hey, maybe even share a virtual cup of coffee with us in Smallville someday. Until next time, keep those brain gears turning.